If you clicked on this video, you're more than likely interested, curious, or really hyped on the upcoming title Clair Obscur Expedition 33. The first time I saw this trailer in Xbox Games Showcase in the early half of 2024, I was immediately super interested in this title, as it showed off a unique twist on the usually tried and true turn-based combat formula, an amazingly interesting narrative concept just from the initial reveal trailer itself, a beautiful and graphical achievement with almost every frame essentially looking like a top-notch French painting all on its own, and in what my opinion is a great list of inspirations that they took from other mediums, with the name-dropped comparisons we know so far being Attack on Titan and the French literature piece called The Windwalkers by Alain Damasio. So if you're interested in a breakdown of everything we know so far about the game and some speculation, you're in the right place. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Clair Obscur Expedition 33's reveal trailer opens up to a fantastical, twisted, and warped looking world. Although looking a bit demented, it at the same time looks beautiful and jaw-dropping. Not to mention, right off the bat, we get a seemingly all-star RPG cast of talented voice actors, with Gustav, our main protagonist, seemingly apparently being voiced by Clive Rossfield's VA from Final Fantasy XVI being Ben Starr, and Mael being voiced by Shadowheart's actress from Baldur's Gate 3 being Jennifer English. Hey guys, this is a live update here as I was actually editing this portion of the video, and as I was editing, Clair Obscur through Bandai Namco Europe's official YouTube channel actually did a full major cast reveal of the major voice actors that are going to be in the game. And to my surprise, Ben Starr actually is not Gustav, but a character named Verso. Gustav himself is actually being played by Charlie Cox, otherwise known as Marvel's Daredevil in his Netflix series, now turned a Disney Plus series, which is pretty insane to hear. Jennifer English was confirmed as Mael, but they even included a talent like Andy Serkis in their character being Renor, which I'm super excited for. So now, more than ever, I am absolutely sure that the voice acting in this project is going to be insane. Alright guys, now that I've updated you with that, let's get back to the regularly scheduled video. I hope you enjoy. Along with what I'm sure will be talented VA work on the game across the board, we also got our first plot summary from Gustav himself about what we'll be getting ourselves into in this game. In this world, there is a mythical entity known as the Painter, which seems to be viewable from wherever our protagonists are, that every year they write down a number and keeps counting down from the current number on a giant monolithic rock. And if you are that age of the number written down, you disappear into nothingness. During this scene in the reveal trailer, we see what I could only assume is Gustav's wife being taken when the number turns from 34 to 33, and from Mael's point of view, a lot of the city's people are disappearing as well. He then mentions every year there's an expedition led with a hopeless mission to destroy the Paintress. This sounds heavily familiar to the hopeless missions that the scouts led in one of the inspirations being Attack on Titan. Not to mention, I have a sinking feeling we might be seeing some character deaths and such just like that series, but more on that later. After that, you see the camera pan back from the main character and you see what seems to be the full force of this year's expedition. Their numbers are far from great and again can be compared to the scout regimen with their hopeless missions and small numbers. From here on, we get a montage of what this world is actually going to look like. Some of its twisted, Dark Souls-like looking creatures and bosses, along with full-on, jaw-dropping visuals, and obviously Persona-inspired menu system that the game will have during its combat. It also shows off the quick-time button presses we'll have to do during both phases of combat to both attack and defend successfully, which compares to something like the game's Legend of Dragoon or even South Park The Stick of Truth. They've already confirmed as well that with this interesting mechanic, it's possible to do a damageless run of the game if you master all the enemies' patterns. Also, really quickly shown in the trailer, something I think worth pointing out, is we get a shot of what seems to be a mountain, seemingly, of former expedition goers all turned to stone, and their bodies are stacked up high, which is ominous to say the least. Gustav then ends the trailer by saying, even if we fail, we lay the trails for those who'll come after. Right? Which, in my opinion, that right added at the end foreshadows maybe Gustav's resolve gets tested during the trials they face throughout the game's story. The reveal trailer then ends with a shot of Maëlle gripping onto a strip of cloth and crying in front of the painter herself. From the reveal trailer, we see this game is oozing with style and is heavily French inspired. Even the name itself, the word Clair Obscur, is French for roughly meaning light and shadow. Clair Obscur refers to the real-world artistic and cultural movement in France in the 17th and 18th centuries. It influenced the game's artistic direction and also refers to the overarching world in the game, said Brochet, the creative director of the game itself. Along with, of course, as previously mentioned, the game being mainly inspired by the French fantasy literature piece, The Windwalkers, or as it's actually known as La Horde de Contrevent, which is hard for me to find a lot of information on, but here are a couple of pieces I could find. From what I could gather about the book's plot from various reviews and what little wikis I understood, essentially before them there were 33 other hordes, or groups in this case, all with the same goal of finding the mysterious source of the wind in the upper reaches. With this 34th horde of children that all have complex relationships with one another to reach their ultimate goal, as they are more than likely the last horde to ever try this mission. And with their lives literally on the line, they try to do what no other have done before them and find the source of the wind. When it comes to if the book was actually even a good read, I found a review from a satisfied reader stating this about the book, which was kind of written up like a teaser. The powerful winds compelling us to push back as we get closer to its origin. The plot is breathtaking and the conclusion difficult to catch, therefore difficult to predict, setting the reader behind the eyes and voices of every member of the 34th Horde through a journey that is analogical to the book itself. Arduous and at the same time a glorious achievement. With a world created with genius, reality is twisted, the language and the customs are unique to the story, the characters are deeply interesting, their aspirations and strength only equals their determination. Will the 34th Horde reach where all previous hordes died? Now, we already touched on some of the comparisons to Attack on Titan a bit, that the creative director himself always liked and may have taken inspiration from. But what I could gather from the French novel, AOT, and the reveal trailer so far, I think we can expect the following. A hopeless mission to save mankind from a uniquely twisted yet beautiful world that Expedition 33 has to offer, where a few who chose to step up will unknowingly be thrown into not only physical perils, but emotional and psychological nightmares, contemplating not only their own beliefs, but what they're fighting for in the first place, where they will more than likely be met with world-changing twists and turns along the way, where maybe, just maybe, everything isn't as black and white as it seems, and where seemingly no member of the expedition is safe. I know this sounds like an epic tale from a book or a movie, but I truly do think with the mediums it took inspirations from, and from what we've seen so far, these will be the stakes and what we can expect from the story of Expedition 33. Now, drifting away from the story, let's cut into the gameplay itself, which for this, we will be delving into an article from the PlayStation blog. The creative director stated that the graphics are one of the focal points for the developers. There hasn't really been any attempt at making a turn-based RPG with high-fidelity graphics for a good while, he says, and that left a deep hole in my gamer heart. We took it upon ourselves to make something to fill that void. Which, to be fair, I would say he's right. Full-on turn-based RPGs haven't really had their time in the spotlight when it comes to how far graphically we can push games nowadays. And games like Persona have their own graphical style, so modern versions of turn-based games just haven't been made to look this good in my opinion almost at all. He then stated, at Sandfall Interactive, we all have a love for JRPGs like Final Fantasy, the Tales series, Lost Odyssey, and Persona, with its awesome UI, rhythm, and dynamic camera. We all have a lot of nostalgia and love for these kinds of games, but also want to see something fresh done with the genre. One thing that sets Clair Obscur Expedition 33 apart from the games that inspired it is its implementation of real-time elements into turn-based combat. We were inspired by action games like the Soul series, Devil May Cry, and Nier, and their rewarding gameplay was something we wanted to bring into a turn-based setting, said Broche. When you play those games, you have to learn attacks, timings, and weaknesses for each enemy encounter, and we wanted to translate that challenge into a new genre. The battle system is what we call reactive turn-based. You can take time during battles to establish your strategies, but during the enemy's turn, you will have to react in real time to dodge, jump, or parry enemies to trigger a powerful counterattack. You will also be able to increase the effectiveness of your skills by mastering attack rhythms. Players will also be rewarded for the skill. It's even possible to do a no damage run if you master all the enemy's patterns. Essentially here, he is breaking down the quick time events, and while you can still take your time and strategize your attacks just like in traditional JRPGs that are turn-based, and plot what you'll do next in the fight, when it's the enemy's turn, you'll have to be on your toes and be ready to dodge, parry, or jump whatever attack comes your way. Brosh continues saying, I kept thinking about ways to make turn-based battles more engaging. The attack rhythm system is a mix of different inspirations. We wanted to make something fast-paced to fit our vision we had for battle. As soon as I finished the first prototype of the defense system, I knew it was something special. Brosh ends off by saying, I'd say dodging and parrying are the most common things players will need to get to grips with as they play. The timing is pretty important, but the payoff is always really rewarding. Also, you can aim your ranged weapons at enemies too, hitting exposed weak points to do some extra damage. And for those of you that might not have caught it during the reveal trailer, by this he means that there are ranged guns in the games that you can use, and these weapons will be aimable with free aim, not a predetermined aim, where you can try to shoot designated weak points on enemies. He continues saying, for example, Expedition 33 features some huge boss battles too that'll really put player skills to the test. And just like any great RPG, you can also build your character to take full advantage of different things in battle, including these real-time mechanics. We're all looking forward to players finding out more about how this game feels as we work towards the game's launch later next year. With all of those details from the creative director, I'm personally so hyped to get my hands on this game whenever it releases in 2025, and I'm hoping to get some news on this game during the Game Awards that's happening this December. From what I've seen so far, I'm sure for Sandfall Interactive's first title ever, they're going to knock it out of the park with this one for sure. And it's sure to be a treat for anyone looking for a great story, or anyone who's a fan of the turn-based style of gameplay. Also, really quickly, I deeply apologize for probably butchering some of these names or words in French. But that's enough out of me. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're excited for this game, if you think this game's story will be as epic as I think it'll be, and if you like the direction the game is taking the turn-based genre. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed or found it entertaining, make sure to scroll down and make that like button glow so we can reach our like goal of 25 likes for this video. While you're down there, consider subscribing as we'll be covering Clair Obscur Expedition 33 as updates come out, other AAA games throughout the year, hilarious content, and more. As always, your support through your viewership, liking, and subscribing is always greatly appreciated and helps me out tremendously against the enigmatic threat that is the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys next time. Peace!